Now, some of you may have already seen, or you might have missed, in which case you've got a real treat on your hands, our series where we're looking at the highest scoring by Metacritic, because we didn't cover all the years, we didn't exist forever, games on the Nintendo Switch 1.
Yeah, we've done 4 of these so far, going from 2017 up to 2020, and this is a really interesting one.
Is it?
Yeah, going by Metacritic. There's a lot of games on here that we really like, but not in the order that we would have had them, I'm sure.
All right, what are the highest rated games then of 2021 on Nintendo Switch?
Let's find out. So starting in 10th place then, or I say that, to be fair, the first 4 games have all got the same score, so they're a joint whatever place you want to give it, 10th if you want. It's Monster Hunter Rise.
Nice.
I mean, nice, but we'd have had this top, wouldn't we?
Would have certainly have been, I don't know what the other games are yet, but it would certainly been bang up there.
Yeah.
Cracking game. Really, really impressed with the direction they went, but also I can see for the masses maybe why that's the case.
Yeah, of course, this is an aggregated score across a whole bunch of reviews, so it makes sense as to why, but it's just quite interesting to see. So this came out in March 2021, and it's got a Metacritic score of 88. So very high.
Okay, yeah.
It's a very good score, to be fair. And this was, along with things like World on the PlayStation, kind of like a rebirth for the franchise, with them clearly aiming to widen themselves up to a bigger audience.
Yeah, they streamline everything from the way that you craft weapons to being able to pin item lists for weapon and armor sets. And you can even try on like the armor sets. One thing I didn't like is the way that they, on that note, that you could like just change the look of any piece of armor, so you didn't really have to worry about what you had.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, exactly. There are a few little gripes I've got more as a seasoned player than the game itself necessarily, but things like you used to go for mounts off the edge of a cliff, didn't you?
mount
off a ledge
strikes.
to try and grab onto the back of the monster and take them down for everyone else to then plow on in. Now you don't really do that so much. It's different. You do mount them still, but it's handled differently. There were a lot of very specific things that you used to do that are now a bit easier or, a bit more, I don't know, mainstream if you like. But saying all that, I think it's a good step from Capcom because it was a series that some people would literally say, I tried a demo, it was terrible, never bothering again.
Yeah.
I think they, as a business model, they needed to do something. And they certainly did it with this and the previous entry on the PlayStation to make it, as good as it was in most respects for us and people like us, but a game that some people will be like, wow, how have I not heard of this before? But then probably go back and play the originals and go, oh, that's why,
Yeah, exactly right. In its defense, the actual combat part was very nice, like nicely improved, felt a lot more fluid. Things like the bow guns and the arrows were so much easier to aim. So yeah, it was nice, and I guess in the areas that most people would care about.
It was one of those games where if you really liked it, the thing you most enjoyed about it was the toil. And they've removed a lot of the toil, and there's nothing wrong with that. And if you've never played it before, you wouldn't miss it. You'd hate it probably if you did try it that way. So yeah, a good step by Capcom. Great step forward in the franchise, and here's hoping to switch to specific one, or if not that, at least a copy of, what's it called?
World, or the newer one?
The newer one, yeah. At some
Wilds?
point. Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
That would be good. Yeah, that one's had a weird launch on PC actually. It's like tanked quite fast, so I think it would do much better on Switch.
So then in 9th place if you like, but joint with the previous game, we had Metroid Dread.
Metroid Dread, this is kind of what we were talking about in another video, where you still get your classic style Metroid experience whilst getting the 3D style newer experience.
Yeah, it's nice to see Nintendo do this sometimes, because as much as things do evolve, and Metroid evolved by way of the Prime series of course, it's also nice to remember your roots and remember where your fan base started. And they did that with Metroid Dread in creating a more traditional Metroidvania. This came out in October 2021 and again, of course, got 88% as per its Metacritic score. And I really enjoyed this game. This was one of my games of the year for that year.
Yeah, I think that's the case across the board, isn't it? I think as they were working on this, they didn't know how it was going to be received. And I think people were looking from the outside as well, were like, oh, here we go. What's this going to be like? But they did a cracking job. Maybe some people didn't like the chase mechanics that much.
Yeah, which is understandable because the longer you go on in the game, the more it can become a little bit annoying. But I think it's handled quite well in that ultimately you do shut that area down, so you're kind of done with that threat and then you move on, But I remember a lot of people as well almost feeling as if it felt a bit archaic because you had a new breed of Metroidvanias, things like Hollow Knight. But I say that there's absolutely room for both types to coexist, and I'm glad they do, because I much prefer this type.
Yeah, I really need to get this one done. It's such a short game comparative to what I'm playing at the moment. I could do this in a couple of days.
Yeah, I will say, or for me at least, maybe other people will have a different experience, but I found the final boss very, very difficult. Really quite difficult. I think some of that was down to the fact that there is a parry mechanic in the game that's not needed for most of the game, but then is absolutely essential for that final boss. So a word of advice, if you are going to play it, just get on board with that quick.
I know a man who likes parry mechanics.
Yeah, I thought you might like that one. Okay, again, with 88 Metacritic score, in 8th place, technically, we got Fez.
Fez absolutely deserves to be on this list, man. This is such a good game that most people, let's be real, haven't played. Like, you've got this... I remember, like, when he was designing it, there's photos and stuff, and I think there's even a video on YouTube of, like, the design process. He was like, right, I want to do, like, a side perspective platformer, but then I want to be able to rotate the world. And at the time, I don't think that existed. So he had to, like, make it and code it and program it and stuff. And it's so good, like, so clever. It's actually open world. You can move backwards through all of these areas and stuff. It looks cracking, really difficult. I remember getting stuck for ages and being like, oh, this is annoying. I actually had to go online and look at a guide. And,
oh, really?
Yeah, and it's some obscure little area you just didn't go to because you thought it was blocked off or whatever. So yeah, I really recommend this. Go check out my review of it. But Fez definitely deserves to be on this list. 88%, yeah?
88, same as the others. April 21, this one came out. Yeah, it's nice. This is why I like these lists, because you have two big games there from two big publishers, obviously in Capcom and Nintendo. And then you get a smaller game like this that's like standing shoulder to shoulder with them, you know?
Absolutely. What else have we got in the same position?
So the final with the same score of 88, you had DUSK, which was the first-person shooter, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. The guy like really likes horror and really liked boomer shooters, as they call them, and thought he'd kind of combine those ideas, and it's great.
I remember there being a bit of talk about it, maybe from those kind of in the know, or within that community that enjoy those sort of games. A lot of talk comparing it to Doom and things like that.
It does have all the modern mod cons that you would hope for, that I would hope for in a first-person shooter, like gyro and all of that fancy stuff. And it just runs brilliantly. So yeah, if you've not heard of it or not picked it up, definitely want to try it if you're a fan of that genre.
So now in, well, I'm going to call it 6th place because I've lost count otherwise, but with 89, we had Death's Door.
Nice.
That was the, that was like a roguelike, wasn't it, with the crow? Yeah. It was an isometric viewpoint.
Yeah, little isometric crow.
Yeah. I enjoyed this one. I played some of this and quite like this one.
It's good, yeah. It had the old hub area mechanic and then the open world, and you go out with your little crow fella, go visit little towns and stuff. But then you had these crazy boss fights, one of which was like a church. Yeah. Like a big gothic church starts attacking you. You're like, what the hell is this? I really enjoyed this. It's always nice as you're doing, especially a channel like this where you know that you're potentially one of the only people that's going to review a certain game, when it comes up and you're like, wow, this is decent. You know, you feel like you're spreading the good news.
Yeah, definitely. And with the same score, moving on, of 89 again, in 5th place, if you want to call it that, we had Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. And that kind of just reiterates what I said a minute ago, to have those two games on the same score. It's nice, isn't it?
It is, it really is, yeah. It's, I think Bowser's Fury was a nice addition to have on there. Wasn't that on the Wii U or something?
Super Mario 3D World was, and Bowser's Fury was new for this particular version. And it was nice, actually, because a lot of the ports that they brought across from the Wii U up to that point had added a few little features, minimal little bits, but this one went and added a whole new game mode, which was actually really quite interesting. You had like this huge kaiju Bowser.
Nice.
Destroying the place, and you had to try and take him down. So yeah, that was a nice addition, as you say. And the game itself, sometimes I feel like this is one of the more forgotten Mario games. Certainly in the 3D spectrum, you have 64, you have Sunshine, you have Galaxy, you got Odyssey.
You got Wonder.
You've done 3D though.
Oh, okay.
But then you got this one that people love, but it almost looks like it gets forgotten about sometimes, you know? And this introduced the cat suit, of course, where you could climb up the walls and whatnot. And it's a very good game, yeah, because you had 3D Land on the 3DS, and then you had 3D World on the Wii U. And it brought a lot to the party, 4-player mode as well. You know, it was really in that era of getting everyone together playing Mario games. Yeah, well worth playing if you haven't.
I didn't realise they had a cat suit in it. I'm going to have to, my daughter's obsessed with cats, so I'm going to have to recommend this one now.
I think Mario wore it in that film they did when he's fighting Donkey Kong. He puts a catsuit on, doesn't he? Yeah, that originated in this game.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, really, really good game. I do enjoy this one. It's one of those that I remember how much I like it when I go back to it and play it. And it came out in February 21, and as I said, it also had an aggregate score of 89. Right, moving into 4th place now, and this is quite a surprise, I must say. It's a game called Chicory, A Colourful Tale.
Wow.
With a Metacritic score of 90.
Oh yeah, I remember it. I remember it actually. I think this is one where like, because Metacritic's done, isn't it, by like critic scores and then user scores. I feel like this is one of those ones where the user scores might be a bit lower, but still it was a good game.
Yeah, user score is 7.6. Metacritic score is 90, as I mentioned. We did review this one. It wasn't us personally. I think it was our friend of the channel, Dave. His wife actually reviewed it for us.
Right.
And she absolutely adored it. So there's definitely a market out there for it and a fan base because of it. It's like a top-down adventure game.
Yes.
With a colouring mechanic, a paintbrush mechanic.
Very Nintendo, really, that, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It could have been a Nintendo game quite easily. You know, you wouldn't have batted an eyelid of it. But I am surprised to see it as high as it is, I must say.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, obviously, with an aggregate system, there's a lot to take into account as to how many reviews were. This is an average of, etc., etc. We're not going to go too much into it because it's on there, and you know, deservedly so. It is a very charming game, and again, probably one that some people just hadn't even heard of.
No, I hadn't.
There we go. Let's move on to 3rd place, and again, perhaps one that you would be surprised to see there. It's called Unavowed, and this got a Metacritic score of 91.
Yes, this is from me old mates. These are Wadget Eye Games. They make the absolute tippity-top point-and-click adventure games.
Yeah.
You reviewed The Excavation of Hobbs Barrow, which was another one of theirs. I was playing Old Skies recently, which is their latest release, and man, that's a game people should go play if they like these types of games. But I hadn't actually played Unavowed. That's one that's kind of just passed me by, but I own it. I own it on the Steam Deck, and I think I own it on Switch as well. You get to basically select 2 companions out of 4 possible ones that will join you on your missions across the different boroughs of New York City, which just that alone is very unique for a point-and-click adventure.
Yeah, yeah.
It's full of lots of different grey choices as well. It doesn't always have that one solution to every problem. That's what makes Wadget Eye Games so good. So yeah, cracking, really impressed. They make these in the Adventure Game Studio, which is a free piece of software.
Yeah.
Anyone could use.
Very impressive.
It's cool, isn't it?
It's nice. It is nice to see that. I mean, this is potentially the most diverse list. So it's the 5th one we've done now, looking back on Metacritic scores. And as I said, obviously there is the, you know, it's not a perfect system because it depends how many people voted or whatever you want to call it, submitted a review. But aside from all that, it's just nice to see how many different types of games from different genres made it on this year's list, you know?
Completely, yeah. And this is another one. Add it to your wish lists because it usually goes on sale.
In 2nd place, with 94, very impressive score and a very good game, by the way, is Tetris Effect Connected, which we played a bit of in like quite a short space of time. We got quite addicted to this one, didn't we? There's a mode where you work together to try and take down the computer, and it kind of tallies your scores together, and then you go into a combined part where you're trying to get rid of blocks, and you have to work together to do that, and then you affect the computer's health, and you have to try and whittle it down. Yeah. Really good game.
Yeah, you've got these like unusual boss fights in there, haven't you? Which was unexpected. Quite tough as well, like really tough. And you do have to almost think about what is going to happen when you have that combined section, because it literally joins together what you currently have available.
And aside from that, it had a few more game modes, some of which I've not even played, online as well. Heavy emphasis on music and the beats of the music as well. Yeah, this is one of those times where they've taken a classic and made it better than you ever thought it could be, bearing in mind how good it already was, you know?
Yeah, I agree with that. I actually played this in VR the most with the music side, and it's super relaxing. Yeah, good game.
And in number 1 for that year, again, really surprising one, you had the House in Fata Morgana Dreams of the Revenants edition with 96%. Now, I don't know a huge amount about this game, but I do remember it coming out. And I do remember really wanting to play it. I'm pretty sure it's a visual novel.
Okay.
But it didn't get a physical release, and I just forgot about it. It was quite expensive digitally, I seem to remember. So I never got round to playing it. But seeing it on here this high has made me want to go back and see if I can pick it up.
Yeah, it's become an unusual hidden gems thing, hasn't it? Yeah. This video.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I'm looking through now, you got like Noisy Pixel gave it 100 out of 100. Nintendo World Report 100. So Nintendo Life 90. or 9, I guess, would be their one, wouldn't it? So it must be one of those where if you're a visual novel fan, there's something about this that's really, really good.
Well, it's a horror themed one, and I've got a bit of a sub collection of horror games on my Switch, and I don't know if it's got physical in Asia, perhaps, but it's set in this cursed mansion, and I think it's got a few different games on it from this series, and I know people just go mad for it, and I just never got around to playing it. But I'm shocked that a visual novel has made it to the top of a yearly list, because as much as some people really enjoy it, and I'm one of those, by the way, it's just not mainstream enough, you would think, to ever get this high.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of views as things there where people are like, this is literally the best visual novel I've ever played. Incredibly emotional, and yeah, nice.
Well, if you have played that one, by the way, without spoiling anything, of course, just put in the comment section your thoughts on it and if it is worth tracking down, because it's definitely re-peaked my interest, if you like, in this one. So there we have it. That's 2021 in a nutshell. 10 games from Metacritic and their scores. As I said, this is the 5th of these we've done now, starting in 2017, which was the Switch one's first year, of course. And we'll put a playlist to that somewhere if you want to give the other episodes a watch.
Thank you to our Patreons and members, all of you that enjoy the content. And as always, for all things Switch all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers, guys. See ya.